Hello, everybody. Episode 159 of the Alter Ego podcast. Here we go. We are back after a few weeks of being off. Sorry about that, but here we are. Mr. Ryan is not with us yet, but he will be joining us later. I know. How you doing up there, buddy?
Oh, it's good to be back.
Mr. Nello, how are you?
I'm amazing.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I'm amazing.
Nice.
A little nervous.
Why?
Phillies tonight. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, okay, moving on. Okay, so here we are, baby. Oh, man. I hope everybody's doing well, guys. It's the spooky season. It is October.
Oh,
Lots of fun things going on out there in the world. What? What's the matter?
did you just break like 3 fingers?
No, I didn't, but they do crack very loudly.
Jesus.
So let's get into it. What have you guys been doing? What do you got? Any big plans for the old Halloween, All Hallows Eve?
So trick-or-treating for my town is Sunday, and I do an adult trick-or-treat along with the kids, obviously.
Right.
So I have a big bowl of candy, but I will also have a couple of coolers of beer with Busch Lights.
Tax form.
And so I will have a cooler of Busch Light. I'll have a cooler of like White Claws and whatnot for the ladies, and then I'll also have a big bottle of Fireball.
Very nice.
And I'll have 2 TVs set up my my driveway watching football.
All right. How about you, Mr. Nello? What do you've never done Halloween, really, huh? You never been a big Halloween guy?
No, I'm not a Halloween person.
Is Tony and Nello's open on Halloween?
That's
No?
on Tuesday. So what?
Yeah, it's on Tuesday.
This is one of those rare occasions where the holiday is on a Tuesday. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to ask Laura.
I wouldn't be opening up on Halloween.
I'm not opening up on Halloween. I don't know what we're doing.
Right. Well, there you go. You know what I thought of is like a super easy costume for Halloween. And by the way, maybe next Monday we'll do Halloween costumes for the show. Since
I'm down with that.
YouTube, because mine this year is so incredibly easy. Anyway, it's gonna be fun. My favorite one to do always is the Blues Brothers. Find me one of my buddies, get the fedoras, the black suit, and you're the Blues Brothers. All you got to do is go out and,
I've seen the Blues Brothers in action.
it's pretty good.
I've seen it.
It's pretty good.
Yes, it is.
I don't look.
You also do Michael Myers pretty well.
Yes, that's my favorite. I think we've talked about that on this show before, but almost every year I go as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But this year I'm not going to. Mike is being retired this year because of my new addition, my little baby girl. I don't want to scare the life out of my 1-year-old.
That's a good call. Good call.
So I want her to see you.
So we're going with something completely different. Not to mention, I think my hair might even come out of the mask now at this point. But yeah, let me just go ahead and say for Mike Myers, he gets hot.
Oh, I can imagine.
Super fast, and Mike Myers usually walks home relatively early. But
Those are some pretty sweaty brows.
But when I put that mask on, I don't talk. I don't say a word. I definitely get into character, and Megan hates that. Just be like, you want to go do this? Honey, please stop doing that. Or sometimes if I don't hear her, she'll be like, are you wearing the fucking mask?
So I saw one of the funniest TikToks like involving Halloween that I've ever seen in my entire life. So the original Halloween movie, there's a scene where the Michael Myers station wagon.
You're talking about way back when, right?
The original Halloween, the very first one.
Okay, go ahead.
So it's the Michael Myers station wagon. You remember the one where she's like coming home from school with her friends and the station wagon goes cruising by?
Right.
So there's a scene where they're like in the downtown area and the station wagon comes up to a T intersection and then turns left to go down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And if you zoom in on the shot, you can see Michael Myers, and the dude driving the car looks both ways. Like that's in the movie. Like you can see the dude, the stunt double, looking both ways before he turns.
That's Mike Myers.
Like, oh, Michael Myers apparently abides by traffic laws.
Michael Myers, you know what? He's okay with brutal murder, but check your 10s and 2s, big boy. Yeah. My favorite was walking down this. I ended up walking ahead of the family, and there were flickering lights in the middle of the street, and I was just walking by myself as Michael Myers. and a group of teens saw me and were terrified. They trespassed on somebody else's property just to get away from me. Crazy amounts of fun. But
I
you'll
would
have to wait
trespass to get
for
away from you.
next week to see what the new normal costume is going to be. I'm very excited about it. So speaking of spooky things, the company Ring that does the digital doorbells that's erased your traditional doorbell anymore because it's so easy to have. And no, we're not sponsored by Ring.
Ring.
Ring. As you guys know, I'm the king of segues. So Ring, let's make it happen. They are paying $1 million to people who have footage of extraterrestrials on their Ring cameras.
My first thought when I read this headline is, how many people are going to fabricate alien footage? It's got to be in the thousands.
Well, there's got to be a code for how their video is processed. And if you want to alter that code, it's got to be hard to do that because there's, they mind their P's and Q's on how their documentation comes in. You'd probably have to share it via their app from a video they captured. But I 100% agree with you that somebody out there is going to say, well, I'm pretty good with graphic design. Because have the Close Encounters of the Third Kind going to be out here real quick.
I mean, the fabrication part would be real, but what is he going to do? Somebody going to dress up in a green suit, walk in front of the camera?
No. Like even UFOs,
so hard to
that would still count.
Yeah, that would still. Well, see that's the thing, because UFOs can still technically be interpreted as like American aircraft or like some government aircraft. So I would be interested to see if UFOs count.
I want to know what deep CIA agent is sitting there watching it going, yeah, that one's not real. Nope. That's
I guarantee you they bring in some like my cousin Vinny style government agent who says, yeah, that looks real to me.
This match what you got down there at Langley? 100% they're real.
I mean, it's a good marketing play, right? Everyone's now going to go get a Ring camera because like, oh, they're giving me $1 million. Let's go. And no aliens.
First of all, if you're basing your big break on catching aliens on your Ring camera, we have more things to discuss. I'd like to know.
Could you imagine if this goes to court and some FBI agent is like, yeah, so when we were monitoring their Ring camera, we didn't see this.
So what about in Las Vegas a couple months ago?
Sorry, go ahead.
In Vegas, there was some sort of like door cam that caught that, whatever that was in the sky.
That was a cop's dash cam.
Mm-hmm. So if a dash cam can get it and it gets you at the right angle, you might be able to capture it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That would be plausible.
And they are here. Aliens are here.
100%. I don't doubt that for a nanosecond. Somebody had this conversation. I think it was on a Joe Rogan clip the other day, and it fascinated me. It was like, so what if aliens are 1% smarter than us? I'm paraphrasing here, and if you've seen this video, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you will shortly because your phone is listening to me tell you this. It says that like chimps, like the smartest chimps in the world, have the capacity of our infants. So like they can do very basic things. But if you told a chimp, hey, I'm cooking dinner at 6:30, I need you to go to the store and pick up broccoli by 6 o'clock so that we have it here, they can't comprehend that. That's just beyond their ability to reason. And so they say, yeah, okay, that's 1% dumber than us as human beings. So like Stephen Hawking is 1% smarter than the average person. And Stephen Hawking, we all know how smart that guy was. And so like they're thinking about, think of even 1% smarter than us and the way they would look at us like, they can't do very, very basic things. Human beings are so dumb. They can't even generate data crystals out of their ear holes yet.
I mean, don't they say we use like 20 or 30% of our brain?
I think it's 20%.
Yeah. We don't even use it. So, I mean, think about 21%. That puts
like
you
they got these brains. They're not even using them.
There was a theory that said if you could use 100% of your brain's capacity, your body would actually turn into pure energy.
Whoa.
Because of the electrons that fire in your brains.
Uh-huh.
Listen, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a biologist. I don't know anything about any of these theories, but I heard this theory that said if you could use 100% of your brain's capacity, your body would be pure energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. If I turned into 100% energy, I don't know. That'd be weird. I don't know if I want that.
Mr. Manhattan style?
Yeah, right. Dr. Manhattan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan.
He didn't
was a
go to,
doctor.
he didn't go to 12 years of superhero medical school.
Man,
He wasn't a medical doctor. He was a PhD guy.
Same difference.
I'm a little
No, it's definitely a big difference.
That was definitely a Austin Powers reference from Dr. Evil, who was also not a medical doctor. So,
But he said I didn't go to 12 years of evil
medical
doctor.
school.
Evil, yeah, whatever.
Oh, medical. Oh, I forgot the line. That's what you meant to say. So I don't know, man. I don't think if I even had the camera footage on Ring, I'm going on about my day. I'm not even sending it in.
It's still
No one's gonna believe it. Like, how do you? Here's the thing. Like, they made those wild parameters. How do you prove it?
Right. Then you have to be that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw an alien on my Ring camera.
It's I think more just of a way for people.
I'm already at a disadvantage because if I send it in, the front of it's going to say Florida man finds alien footage. By the way,
you're not at a
Ryan, you want to say hello?
What's up?
Hey, he's with us. He's just trying to figure out his technical difficulties. But yeah, I don't know. But by the way, in very related news, earth-shattering news getting dropped. The McRib is back.
yes.
For real? Wow. It's not even pork though, right? It's like shoeshel or something.
I think there's only
So
one.
what is hold on, what is shushel?
Like the soles of your shoe. What is it?
Shushel.
I'm sorry. Isn't that what it's made out of or whatever? Like plastic? It's not even real meat or something like that?
It's
You're
the
not
McRib,
real
buddy.
meat.
So there's two in here that eat the McRib.
You're not real meat.
I like it. I'm not saying I'm not knocking it, but I'm like, what?
Ryan,
Listen.
McRib fan?
No, actually,
Okay.
McRib like
Yeah,
that.
me neither.
Why did you ask him specifically like that?
Because I said there's one, because I know you like the McRib. And then I thought that there was only one of us that liked the McRib on the show, which would be you. And then he was like, I was like, oh shit, Ryan, do you like the McRib?
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, no, it's not for me. Too much sauce.
Steak, egg, and cheese bagel all day.
Wow.
That is
Yes.
cool. Steak, egg,
Yes.
bagel with
Brought that
extra
back.
cheese. Holy shit.
I rejoice. But
That is
Steak,
good.
egg, and cheese bagel.
Ryan, can you add your face just in case I have to make a snippet at any point?
He is. He's working on it.
I'm working on it.
He's rerouting the database and checking the encryption before he blasts through the firewall, and then go ahead and redata lines the.
And,
I'm surprised you let it going as long as you did.
Anytime anybody would, oh boy, it says devices canceled. Let's see how this goes. Add to stay. There he is.
Oh, there's our milky white black guy.
All right. Anytime anybody would call me at work and be like, "Hey, Jack, can you help me with this?" I'd be like, absolutely no problem. And I would just start typing. I'm just going to blast through the data wall, check the encryption, and like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway,
He's the guy in the chair permanently.
I'm the guy in the chair, big time. I actually, when we play video games and I'm the only one dead, I become the guy in the chair. Turn left on Crenshaw. Anyway, let's get into Marvel, huh? The writer strike over. So everything has re-entered production. Fantastic Four aiming to start filming in 2024.
How? I thought the
I'm
actors were
excited.
still on strike.
How are they gonna? They don't have a cast.
They don't have a script. They're writing.
They don't have
it
an
right now.
announced cast.
They're writing.
So
it
there's a small problem to this though,
Actors
because
are right?
Deadpool has actually been pushed back because of the actor strike.
Oh yes, there you go.
Yeah.
So the writer
So
strike is done.
So that's what I'm saying. They're writing because didn't they just get a director or somebody to help finish the story or something like that for Fantastic Four? I thought they don't even have a script.
That really doesn't matter because they could have partial scripts all over the place. They could have 9/10 of a script and say they don't have a script. So that's not something I would be worried about.
They could also just have like a premise too.
If they're aiming to start filming in 2024, I'm sure the eye is on the finish line of the actor strike. If that's the case, right? Like they wouldn't say they were aiming for this unless they knew something.
Well, that depends because Deadpool originally got moved up and now it's been pushed back again. So it depends.
Yeah, that wasn't going to be a story at all. But Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens with Fantastic Four for sure. I'd love to see some casting, but we won't see it if there is an actor strike going on, I guess. But one thing, since we're not going to talk about Deadpool anymore, is Daredevil undergoing major creative changes.
Major, more like
as in the
scrap.
entire show has been pretty much scrapped, and they are going back to the drawing board. But here's the reason. From a couple of channels that I follow, Screen Crush, a couple of the ones that really deeply do this for a living, and they do a lot of research and interviews and stuff like that. They are learning from Loki finally that they need to have a traditional showrunner for that show and stop shooting it like movies that they're going to chop up into 6 different episodes, and they're going to make actual TV shows now, because they see how well Loki has done. And obviously, if you've watched any part of season 2, you know it is fuego. It is the best thing that Marvel has done in terms of Marvel TV. Not season 2 alone, not season 2 alone, but Loki as a whole has been the best thing that Marvel's done in terms of TV. So they are trying to do all new actual shows. No more movies that are getting chopped up. Like I said,
how bad was it?
How bad was what?
How bad was Daredevil that they're like, well, it's almost done. You know what? We're just going to start all over again.
I think it was bad enough because it was planned for what, 18 or 20 episodes.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be ongoing for like.
We have yet to get even like a 12 episode series out of Marvel, so it was obviously bad enough for them to be like, hey, we got to redo the entire thing.
Well, I think that was a structural issue. I don't know if, because if they are going after the Born Again comic series, they already have a plot. They just need to redirect that path. And how does this show look from start to finish as a TV show? So I don't think that it's going to be all as crazy as it sounds with the headline. I'm sure they are getting a Feige for that show. I'm sure Feige's going to do a major oversight, but they will have a showrunner that knows this is how this is supposed to go, and they will probably supersede the director and a lot of those creative people to make sure that they deliver what they want to deliver.
The thing that concerns me about this is the second time that we have seen this on a major level, because we saw this with the Blade movie.
Yeah.
The Blade movie got entirely scrapped, new director, new script, the entire 9. Now all of a sudden the Daredevil series, which is supposed to be one of the biggest series that Marvel releases, is also getting it's also getting another scrap, new script, the entire 9. I part of me hopes that it is because they're listening to the fans and listening to the critics and saying, hey, slow down, put more effort into each production. But another part of me is like, man, I've watched so many other features that have failed, like Ant-Man 3 and Thor 4. It's like, oh God, where are you going to go with this?
What if they use Daredevil as an introduction to a street level world?
That's so I don't doubt that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we've talked about that quite a few times. That would be great. And I think that is intended, but what Rhino's saying is not necessarily the narrative parts of the show, but the production side of things.
Yeah.
And the way that it's actually made and the way series are structured.
I agree, because look, even Miss Marvel's or the Marvels coming out is getting flack for being terrible. So wouldn't it make sense to change if you keep doing something and it's not working? Maybe
100%. And I think
it's a good point. Good point.
Comment on what you guys are saying. I think the massive reshoots and the restructuring are a sign of Marvel seeing the problem that they have on their hands and seeing that if they don't really put the production and the effort into what the audience is expecting, eventually this train is going to come to a grinding halt. Yep. And that's something that they can't afford, pun intended, because if they lose the base that they've been working so hard to have, somebody went in there and was like, guys, what are we doing?
Feige's like,
somebody went in and said, look at how far we've come and how short of a time it's taken to possibly absolutely destroy it.
Icarus, man, they're flying too close to the sun.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And you know what? It's so funny because Icarus is a part of that with the Eternals. Like, no. I mean, like, we're talking about productions that didn't seem to fit. didn't seem to belong in the MCU, didn't get their proper introduction. They were a brand new story, a brand new team that had no sort of I don't know. They just kind of kicked the door down. Hey, here we are. We're the Eternals. By the way, we're this important to your entire narrative structure. And it's like, whoa, okay, hold on. You know what I mean? And so that was one of those things where Marvel was like, we're going to give you this and you're going to like it.
Well, another thing that Marvel is, it appears from the outside looking in that Marvel has to worry about this. Star Wars is really doing a great job with everything that they put out right now. And Disney obviously owns both Star Wars and Marvel in terms of the cinematic features.
And
if Star Wars continues to outdo Marvel the way that they have lately, a lot of those budget dollars are going to start going towards Star Wars and not Marvel. So if you continue to put out less than stellar productions, you're going to start to lose money for your production.
I don't think that's necessarily going to be something that happens. I think since they own both of those animals, they're going to realize that they're giving one of them the wrong diet and switch it up to the one that's healthy.
That's what I'm talking about though. If you're going to make money off of Star Wars, you're going to put more money into Star Wars. If you're not making as much money off of Marvel, you're not going to put as much money into Marvel.
What I'm saying is, if they see the strategy that you're talking about for Star Wars that makes it successful and makes Star Wars work and makes Star Wars a draw, they're going to realize the production and the time and the writing and all these habits that they're creating to make Star Wars good and say, we can do this with Marvel. Because if you're going to sit here and think that they're going to just offload Marvel and not give it as much attention after all the money they've put into it and all the resources, they're not going to stop giving Marvel money, but they are going to reinvent the wheel in terms of production.
So Marvel's never
that's what I'm saying. I think that's what their motive is behind it.
Hold on, Rhino.
Marvel's never going to stop getting money from Disney.
Right.
That's never going to happen. Right. The question isn't that. The question is Marvel sees the painting on the wall. DC's coming out with new programming with James Gunn that's going to be show oriented like this. You can go to Amazon and watch The Boys. They're not the only show in town anymore. So if you're going to keep giving us shit products, people are going to be like, why am I paying for this? Why am I watching this?
Right.
So they realize that maybe Daredevil needs to be what we just talked about. You know how you said about the Eternals?
Yeah.
If they include Daredevil and make it into a wide world, like a Wild World street level where all these guys come together and there, then you have multiple spin-offs if it works. The possibilities are endless for shows.
I've said it before and I'll say it again.
You get what I mean?
I feel like the biggest thing that Marvel messed up on was Iron Man was just Iron Man. Thor was just Thor. Then you had all these things and they came together to become that whole big picture. Now they've started with the whole big picture and they're trying to work it and we don't like what we're seeing. That's basically what's happening.
Right. And the
Most
problem
of these
there
movies
is
don't feel like they could just be I've watched this standalone, decent movie. Cool.
Right.
You're expecting it to build into something else because of the way they've put all the stuff up on the board, and you're like, okay, this is going to happen in this, and this is going to connect to this, and I had to watch this series for this, rather than it just being, hey, I just went to movies and saw a kick-ass movie for 2 hours. It's not that anymore, and that's one of the biggest problems that they're having.
Sure, because you kind of attach that I need to watch the entire encyclopedia to understand this chapter kind of thing. And another problem with that is when they're trying to involve everything is we all in this room, everybody has a favorite Avenger, and that team right now is people's favorites in terms of Marvel. They love the Avengers. So now when you start to see this other team form, you're like, that's not the Avengers. That's not the Guardian.
That's a great question. Let's real quick do this. Real quick. Who is your favorite Avenger, Jack?
Oh, Hawkeye, baby. Hawkeye number one.
Okay, Hawkeye. Ryan, who is your favorite Avenger?
Hulk smash.
Hulk. Nello, who is your favorite Avenger?
I am Iron Man.
I knew
Iron Man, so mine as well as Iron Man. None of those four right now are present.
Yep. Well, Hawkeye is.
Hawkeye is and kind of isn't. Like is he really
Hulk
present?
By the way.
No, but I see what you mean. In major narrative stories right now, none of those guys are present. Not even Thor. Nobody mentioned Thor, and I could tell you, Mrs. Austin would definitely say Thor without a matter.
And none of those guys are here right now.
No,
that's the problem. Is none of those guys are here right now.
And the other three, essentially, we've lost. So Black Widow, Iron Man, and Captain America are all gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other remaining Avengers that, if you want to count, well, Captain America is now obviously Sam Wilson, but it's not super soldier Sam Wilson, so people aren't going to view that the same. Hawkeye is trying to train a new Hawkeye because he's old and he's beat up. Hulk is, we don't know what the hell's going on with
I
Hulk.
don't mind the Captain America transition though. I thought that was handled.
No,
well.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that when you're looking in terms of the past and what that team was, that's not what this Captain America.
But if you also look at it from an average fan perspective, like we're all comic book fans, we're all diehards. But if you look at it from an average Marvel perspective, everyone loved Chris Evans as Captain America.
Big time.
So now that you introduce a new guy as Captain America, everyone's going to be like, oh, all right, well, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll check it out. Like, we're going to check it out because we're nerds.
Right. I'm
But
already
the average fan.
Yeah. I'm really excited to go see Marvels. I know it's probably not going to be the greatest movie,
Ooh,
but I don't care.
yeah,
Captain Marvel is an Avenger. I want to see where the story is going. And, this isn't going to hurt me like Venom has done. I don't care enough. I don't care enough about the Marvels for them to do this to me, but I want to see Kamala Khan again.
I do want to see another Captain America
Yeah.
movie.
And
I also want to see who got bifrosted in.
Yeah, okay, let's take a bet on that, because in one of the most recent trailers, they pretty clearly show a Bifrost showing up, and Captain Marvel says she called in some help. Now let's poll the audience, and who do we think
it's Lady
could
Thor.
be an Asgardian that shows up to save or help
Korg.
Korg.
Okay. I'm dead serious. I think so listen. I know it's a funny response, but listen.
Yeah.
I think the direction that Marvel has gone in lately with the comedic relief, I think that Korg is that guy that can not only come in and actually beat ass, but he could also be that comedic relief as well.
Listen,
that's why I think it's Korg.
He can't even handle a 12-year-old in Fortnite, bro. I'm not trusting that guy to save anybody. I honestly think it's going to be Jane
Foster, who's currently dead.
She's dead. Yeah.
Well, we don't know. That would be an interesting plot twist if it was her who shows up.
Especially
but we also know
called The Marvels, and it's all women,
right?
And you know how they like to do things now.
You vote Heimdall, who's also dead.
Heimdall's also dead. Yep,
super dead.
My vote is I thought the obvious choice is Valkyrie. I think
that is a very Valkyrie.
He's never left. He's always been there, right?
Because Lady Sif, they Karate Kid 2'd Lady Sif in Thor 4, which made me so blindingly angry. That was you have an OG character who ends up being Thor's wife in a lot of iterations, and somebody who's very important to the Marvel universe and very important to Asgardian royalty in general. Just go, oh well, you got killed, so you're not gonna go to Valhalla because you're not dead. The battle's over. I was like, and then they're gonna leave her with her arm chopped off, and just like, what the is this? Anyway, not going to go too far into that. Let's do a little bit of DC before we take our first break for the day. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Perfect. James Gunn comes out to say Peacemaker Season 2, as we all rejoice silently, will come as part of the DCU, baby. Woo, we know it is.
I'm down with it. I'm down with it for sure.
I don't care about anybody in DC except for Vigilante.
Yeah.
I want Vigilante in every aspect of the DCU.
Well, to expand on this point, another report that came out is that the original DCEU, none of them will be back for the DCU. That includes Jason Momoa
as Aquaman. Correct.
Yep. Yeah, so they've officially said that he will not be back as Aquaman.
And I actually wanted to, since you brought this point up, your boy John Cena versus The Rock, best actor or wrestler. I give it to John Cena.
Let's go,
Cena all day. You're 100% right.
I just watched Fast 37 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro, this guy. Okay, he's way better.
Yeah, he's way better.
He's way better than The Rock.
The Rock.
But you know what? On top of that, John Cena is just such a better person.
Oh,
he is such a better person. Oh, you mean all of the what's that? I don't want to call it. I want to call it Last Wish. Oh my God, Make a Wish. Thank God. All the Make a Wish stuff he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a better dude. He's a
I
better
don't think
guy.
that's a fair comparison.
I-
How the
you
hell
know,
do we
so-
know how these people really are? I don't know.
It's-
Honestly,
I've seen Cena do things that one thing that I'm like, nah, he's not that good of it. I think nope.
Yeah. Well, I have a nephew that he made his day for, so I mean, I'm also Team John Cena.
I mean, first and foremost, I agree. I think John Cena is great. I was talking from performance base. You guys know how much I love The Rock.
Yeah.
John Cena allows himself to be vulnerable and different and not be, He-Man when he's in there. He's not all about himself.
Ass
He's
kicking
willing
all the
to
time, yeah.
right. He's willing to fight a whore in his underwear for DC, and The Rock wants to fly slowly through a wall. I don't understand. But I just love that John Cena is going to be part of the DCU. This character will never be taken seriously as like a Justice League member ever. He's meant to live as this comedic relief and be a different side of DC. And that part of me is so overjoyed that DC is going to have a dog in the fight, because every single one of their characters, we've talked about this countless times, just seems like a god. Like they're unstoppable. Even Batman, the way they do Batman is like, well, the world's greatest detective was able to see that he was going to hate that. And to get some characters who are a little flawed and a little damned and a little relatable is finally good to have.
Well, to be honest with you, I also think that DCU is going to try and use Peacemaker as their version of Deadpool.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm not saying that Peacemaker is Deadpool. Like, I'm not trying to make them equivalents, but I think that DCU in their mind, they're going to try and use him as the DCU's Deadpool equivalent in terms of comedic relief and storyline and all of that stuff. Like, I think that's their plan.
John Cena can 100% carry that torch.
I would be
100%,
so down
100%.
for like a
He's no
Peacemaker
so
vigilante.
the problem with that is
spin-off,
like
1,
if
2.
he was trying to be Deadpool is, first of all, he can't square up with Deadpool on his best day. Deadpool's
No.
And the way MCU is going to be using Deadpool is going to be just a little bit different, but I definitely understand the spirit of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So they interviewed the actor who played Joker in the newest The Batman movie, Barry Keoghan, and all he said is he just wanted swag to come off in his performance in audition.
Yeah, it sure did. A lot of swag in that performance.
I think he's a great guy, a good actor. Good for you. I don't want to see his Joker again.
No, that was a terrible iteration of Joker.
Listen,
I don't
kid,
even know what
you
that
had
was.
you had the shot. I'm glad you have some time on screen as the Joker. I just did not. I was not there for it. I
was
wouldn't mind them
awful.
using him. Just redo that whole persona. It was just a bit of a nightmares. I don't know, man. That's another one. The Joker's kind of been tainted by the fact that Heath Ledger absolutely crushed it, and it's hard.
Well, that's the problem they have to live with. No matter what studio is doing DC, they have to try and replicate what Heath Ledger did to that character, and
But
they'll
why?
never be able to do it.
I disagree. Why? Let it alone. It's done.
No. So I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that the next studio has to make another Heath Ledger, but the bar was set by Heath Ledger.
For that adaptation.
So every studio that comes after Heath Ledger, they have to do something wild and crazy to get to that level. We saw that with the Suicide Squad with Jared Leto. Jared Leto's Joker was absolutely awful. It was awful.
The past 2 times we've seen the Joker, they've been in the movie for 5 minutes. Like, how we're just determining by what they look like.
No. Well, that's the thing,
know what
and
I mean?
I think it is to Rhino's point is that they don't want to touch Heath and try to look like Heath. So it's kind of like anything else in the world when you're trying to change things, like, and we're not going off on this tangent, but the political atmosphere right now, you have one person here, so the other side goes way over here, and then they fight from back here. So they're trying to distance themselves from that Heath Ledger performance by being so different that there's no way somebody's going to compare. But the problem is they just need to put a goddamn clown in a purple suit and make him sinister. You don't need to try to be Heath Ledger, but try to be the Joker a little bit.
But that's where, look at Joaquin Phoenix. Everybody
Joaquin Phoenix,
that's what I'm saying. Who cares about Ledger? Give me something else that's actually good.
But see, the thing is, Joaquin Phoenix was a separate part. He wasn't what's going to be included in the DCU.
Why?
Yeah, see that Joker for me still didn't get it for me.
What?
Yeah,
That's
he
pretty
See,
good.
I'm right there with Ryan. I didn't get it either.
You didn't get it, or
he just wasn't for me. Like,
Yeah.
It
he was more of-
didn't do it for me.
he was more of an observational piece on mental health using a big
Yes,
character, the Joker.
yes.
Now, I said this when that movie came out. They didn't even need to call it Joker. He didn't even need to be the Joker. They could have just set that movie and run its course, and it would have still been just as good.
Funnily enough,
They could have called him Frank.
I'll agree on
He
that.
could have just been Frank, and then it would have been a great movie. But like my problem was, that's not the Joker. That's a completely different story. That's something else. That's
with
not Joker.
Same
what
could
was
be
that?
said for Jared Leto.
what was that Netflix movie with Chris Evans where he played like the psycho?
Played a
Gray,
Gray Man,
Gray
the
Man.
Gray Man.
Bro,
That was a great movie.
Evans as the Joker.
100%, 100%,
Right
100%.
there. That's I just need the crazy in that level of I don't necessarily need him to be Heath Ledger, but to be the Joker. And like you said, crazy. These guys are just been clowns, literally just clowns.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like they
get
keep
what you're
trying
saying.
to one up it. They keep trying to one up the shock value.
But
And it's just that's not what the Joker is. I don't need the shock value. I just need somebody to have a white face, purple suit, and be fucking psycho.
I know that this is not going to be a popular one, but I wouldn't mind a remake of Jack Nicholson's The
I would.
Joker. I would love that.
that's
I
not
would definitely
Oh,
mind
the
that.
bang, the flower. I would like to see that. I would like to see
you mean
that.
just that iteration?
Yeah, yeah.
I think
You know what I
I think
mean?
Ryan's onto something. I think Ryan is onto something right now with
That's what I'm
Chris
saying.
Evans. The way he was in that movie, he was just as good as Ryan Gosling, if not better. I enjoyed him
way better.
so thoroughly. And that kind of Joker where you could see, that was the good thing about Heath Ledger's Joker, is you could see he was crazy, he was chaotic, he was unpredictable, but he was smart.
Yeah.
And he was always 3 steps ahead of everybody, Batman included.
who's the guy that played Alfred? I saw something the other day.
Michael Caine. Michael
Michael
Caine.
Keaton.
Michael Caine.
I saw something the other day that said that
I used to
actually
be Batman. Now I'm just the butler.
the scene where he actually, when the Joker walks in at the party
the
or whatever,
fundraiser for
Yeah. that
for
he
Harvey
actually
Dent.
messed up his line because Heath Ledger scared him so much with the way he walked in, and he was like, "Holy sh!" Like,
That also happened to Jake Gyllenhaal's sister. What's her name?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Maggie. So that scene where he holds the knife to her face,
Mhm.
she actually did not know that was going to happen. So her reaction, because there's actually a scene in the movie where you could see her look off to the side. She's looking at the production.
She's looking at the
And
director.
she's like, "What the fuck is going on?" That was a real reaction, and they kept filming
see?
and kept it in the movie.
Well, she knew. So that's the thing, is like she apparently knew of Heath Ledger. Like her brother talked about him all the time because they were in Brokeback Mountain together, and like they say he's such a nice guy, but she never met him all through production. The first time actually meeting him was the time he did that.
On set, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to get into some movies and TV and some video games. So we will see you guys around the metaphorical bend.
Organization in the world.
And we're back. So never mind Nello, as usual. Netflix planning another price hike after the actors' strike ends. Shocking nobody.
I'm canceling mine.
Why do we still have this?
For what?
I don't.
For what?
I literally have been fighting with my wife over this like the last few weeks. I'm like, bro, I don't. It's $20-something for Netflix. I never watch it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Hulu, I almost never watch. I'm like, the only thing I watch nowadays is pretty much YouTube and like Crunchyroll at best. So
Yeah.
why am I paying for every other thing?
We're on Hulu,
Like-
Disney Plus, and Prime for sure.
And
Yeah,
Disney Plus, I
yep.
was like, cancel that
Yep.
too. She's like, why? I watched. I don't care. I'm tired of paying $13 for this, $20 for that. Stuff starts to add up over the.
I can't
Entire
take my
year.
HBO.
So as devil's advocate, there is one thing that you are Netflix is going to put out that I want to watch, and that's Stranger Things.
When it comes out, I told her fine, but
Yeah, but other than that, I have no intention of paying for Netflix ever.
Yeah, they don't have much on there right now that's catching my interest. They have one or
Nope.
two things, and it's one of those where we just forget that we're paying for it.
Yeah, see, I remember, and it sucks 'cause every time I turn on Netflix, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie, and my wife just stares at me, and she's just like, "Really?" Because I sit there and scroll for about 30 minutes before I find something
And
that
turn it
I
off.
actually want to watch. And that's actually what ended up happening. I was like, "What's on?"
Roll and
It's
turn it
on.
off.
What's on Max? Like,
Yeah.
what's on some other station, some other streaming device or
Sure.
whatever?
But amid this actor's strike, One Piece, who's a greenlit for season 2, is working on a role for Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay. Patrick Stewart said that Tom Hardy wouldn't engage with his co-stars on set. My opinion here, who cares?
Maybe he's a method actor and he doesn't want to be.
Well, that
yeah.
was also at the very beginning of Tom Hardy's career too. He was a young guy. He was not established as an actor. He was not like, Venom Tom Hardy or Bane Tom Hardy. I mean, nobody really knew who he was. So who the fuck cares? I also don't care.
I'm just like also thinking maybe, and like Nello said it, maybe he's a method actor, and because he's the bad guy, he doesn't want to develop friendships with everybody else.
That's fine, but he also hasn't done that since then either.
Yeah, I don't, it's one of those things that everybody listening to this show, probably, I'll go out on a limb and assume every single person listening to this show, and I know everybody who's on the show right now has said, I don't really care about this person that I work with. I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to get paid, and I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
So I don't think
this is the second time though that we have heard of off-screen issues with Tom Hardy.
Now,
man, if
hold
everyone's
on.
dirt came out in Hollywood, they'd all hate each other.
Let's hear the other one in which this was a Tom Hardy issue.
The other one was Shia LaBeouf knocked Tom Hardy the fuck out.
But why? Because Shia LaBeouf.
But no, well, hold on. That's what I'm
with another co-star about their cars, and he didn't like the fact that they were talking about having a lavish lifestyle. And Shia LaBeouf, from what I understand of the story, sucker punched him. Where's that a Tom Hardy problem?
So Shia,
this is what I'm trying to say. This is what I'm trying to say. I obviously none of us on this podcast right now know the exact details of what happened on that movie with Shia LaBeouf.
I was there.
We can speculate. We can speculate. We can listen to stories. But this is now the second time we've heard of issues with Tom Hardy. How many movies have we heard of issues with Shia LaBeouf?
Every single one.
All of them.
Wow. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf everywhere. But actually, it's the third time we've heard of issues with Tom Hardy because Charlize Theron didn't want to do it.
Oh, that's yes. There it is. Yes, yeah.
And we know
I'm not trying to speculate. I'm not trying to assume or anything like that. But when there's smoke, there's fire. If it's a goose, it's a goose.
Tom Hardy's a draw.
Yeah, but
and people pay to see him.
Big time.
Actors don't like that he's not like them. I think that might be it. I think they don't like the fact that he maybe doesn't drink the Kool-Aid. From all the stuff we see about Tom Hardy in interviews and elsewhere, he does not seem like your typical actor who's like, I was just so drawn into the script and I loved it
and I
so
love that.
much.
Thank you.
And I, what it really did was it transformed me. So since I was going to be a father, I wore a diaper for 6 months. And you know what I mean? Like that's how you hear your typical actor. And you don't hear that from Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's like, man, they wrote me a check. I showed up, did my job. Fuck these people.
Yeah, I think that's it.
We're not gonna go have fucking beers afterwards. I'm not going to your kid's fucking bar mitzvah.
Yep.
I'm already gonna get a check and that's it.
Yep.
And some people don't like that.
To judge somebody being cool or not cool over 3 events out of the millions of times he's been on set,
and we're just we're doing what we do on this show, which is speculate wildly. Yeah. Now, A24 wants to acquire multiple IPs, including the Halloween franchise.
Who's
which
A24?
A24 is a production studio. It's like a horror studio.
I've never heard of them.
Really? I know you have heard of them. You just didn't know it was them.
Okay.
I guarantee it. Anytime you've seen a really out there horror movie, you're like, what the hell is this? Like
they did Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't know who that.
They did. They've done some big ones. The recent one was like the Killer Sloth. That was meant to be funny. I think that was A24 too.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, me neither. I don't pay to get scared.
I just think they're terrible. They're not even scary.
Yeah,
they're just bad.
No, I agree.
We watched Friday the 13th, the OG one the other day, and I'm like, bro, really? What was this?
Yeah, and I was about to say I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if I'm spoiling it or not. But didn't old boy die in the most recent one? So is this gonna be another reboot? Is this a good idea?
Ooh,
Do
Michael
we like-
Myers?
Yeah,
Michael Myers never dies.
Bro, he got jumped by an entire town and killed, from what I understand in the last.
Jumped by an entire town.
He also in Halloween 4, he also got the fuck beat out of him by some dude with a pipe. So he's been making movies for 20 years since then.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, at what point do we still want to see this? Michael Myers is an icon and probably just not going anywhere. So get used to him. Let's talk a little bit about video games, shall we?
What video games, Jack? Do you really want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about?
Yeah.
I want to talk about what I want to talk about last. I know if you're screen peeking here,
I can't.
we're
read
gonna do it
that.
at the
I'm
end.
blind.
Thank
What are you
God.
talking
Thank
about?
God.
Cover your eyes, Nello.
I would never cheat.
Spider-Man, the fastest selling game in PlayStation history.
They say that about every game of PlayStation.
Well, you know what though? It's because the gaming
Every game
industry
is the
keeps
fastest
growing and
selling,
growing.
The
Yep.
fastest selling.
Don't be mad you can't play Mortal Kombat on your Switch over there.
Oh
I
God.
can play Mortal Kombat on my Switch.
It just looks terrible.
And I'm smart enough not to spend $70 on it.
Yeah.
But
It looks like the actual Mortal Kombat one.
Yeah. Good. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to reinvent the wheel. There will be people out there that love it, and this is one of those games that I'm just a jealous Xbox boy over here who's like, okay, don't put it out, so I don't care.
yeah, I mean, I still haven't even played the first or second one. I've got my PS4 Pro sitting there. It's there. I just haven't.
I haven't played
a
a single one of them either. I obviously don't have the PlayStation machine, so
Listen, so there's one thing that PS5 still has over Xbox, and that is studio-driven story modes. And I will all day give that to PS5 right now, to Sony PlayStation.
Their stories are really good.
also I
Yeah.
won't say they. You mean in terms of how good they are compared to
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes, yeah. Oh, because it's not just Spider-Man. You got to remember, there's
this freaking
God of War,
Last of Us.
The Last of Us. I mean, their story modes are elite. They are the best of the best. Now, I'm not trying to compare one to the other. I'm just saying PS5 is right now. That's what their top tier thing is.
Yeah.
The story mode games.
They're going to. I think
So
they're
it's
going
always
to lose.
been, honestly.
Yeah, they've always been that. I think they're going to end up having to share their toys if they want to stay viable.
I think
my
they're
feeling.
gonna flex that Call of Duty card. They're like, you want Call of Duty?
Yeah.
I don't.
Man,
If I may, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's the one thing that's going to keep them relevant.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is, like, Nintendo's relevant too, but we don't ever talk about them in the console wars. That's what.
But why? But why though?
Because their stories aren't that compelling. It's Mario.
There's a reason why Nintendo's not in that conversation, because they only have the story modes. They don't have the rest of what's available to the other two consoles. They don't have the Call of Duties, the Fortnites.
What was the story to Super Smash Brothers Melee?
there was none. That's why that game is
What
so
was,
good.
actually,
what was the
hold on.
story to Mario Kart?
Oh, beat the other guy.
See what I'm saying is, like, they definitely are.
I know the
niche.
Mario Kart. It was definitely about family. It was a bald dude in the car. I believe it was an
But
old.
see,
car.
the thing that Xbox and PS5 have over the Switch is the multiplayer aspect. So they don't have to worry about that right now. If a new Switch comes out where their console can compete with the other two consoles in terms of multiplayer, like online multiplayer, sure, but
And
they're
it
not
also
there
have-
yet.
compete
They'll
with power, too.
never be that. They don't want that.
They're
But
not-
that's why PS5 doesn't have to compete with Nintendo.
Honestly, if Nintendo's smart, they would just sell to one of these bigger companies. Just be like, all we want to do is make games. So we'll make games for your console.
That is a brilliant point. I have to agree with him. Brilliant point.
Why do I need the Why do I need to enter the console wars? It's
Hold on.
obviously we can't catch up.
Well, hold
You
on.
don't have
but-
to catch up.
Right,
how many
right.
Wii's got sold?
Yeah.
How many Switches got sold?
Yeah.
How many times have they?
But no, hold on. To
hold on, let me-
branch off of what Nello said,
I
they
know,
can
hold
keep
on.
doing that.
And how many times have people bought Mario over and over again? On every time there's a system, they sell you the same shit back twice. So not only do they make you buy a new console, then they sell you shit you done already paid for 7 times. Why do they need to go make games for somebody else? And you're going to pay for them.
And-
But you can still develop a console, sell the rights to that to Xbox or to PlayStation and be like, hey, listen, we will continue to develop your console, you sell it, and we'll give you the games.
Here's the tech along with it.
Yeah, here's the tech along with it.
So we're having this
So
argument.
essentially making our double A console, just slapping Nintendo.
But why would they
name on
do
it?
that? They wouldn't want to make another console.
That
They
doesn't-
would just.
We're having this argument as
I
if
don't know why we're-
Nintendo is sitting there in their offices going, God, we've got to be the biggest and the best and the fastest.
They don't. That's
and
the
that's
thing, they know
why they're
they
not
are.
in it, is because they're like, hey, we make Mario. People love Mario. So what we're going to do is sit around and keep making Mario. And we're going to be Nintendo. And those two, have fun, gang. We're going to be down here doing what we need to do. I don't think there's the drive out of Nintendo
There
to
isn't.
be the biggest console of all time. They've got arguably one of the biggest IPs of all time, and they're just sitting there making Super Mario World. They're making Super Mario movies. Here's the thing, right? I think that this is one of those things where Xbox and PlayStation are going, here's all the games you can play. Here's everything that you can do. Here's all the games. Here's how you can do this. And Nintendo is like that samurai, hammering that sword 1,000 times and making sure that sucker is the sharpest thing you've ever seen. And it works every time. And they just aren't involved in this thing. And they're okay with that.
I wasn't actually talking so much about console wars. I was actually talking about maybe it would make sense for Nintendo to go to Microsoft and be like, we'll make the games, you make them PC compatible.
And what I'm saying is they
Maybe
don't
not
care.
even so much.
That's what I'm saying. They're not caring.
They don't
to do
care.
so. Like when the Switch came out, everyone knew what was an inferior
Right.
system to the PlayStation.
Right,
PlayStation
right.
5. But look at how many Switches sold.
To go back to the original point.
Okay.
Switch does a great job of doing story mode games, but it's what, one or two every couple of years. I mean, how many out of the Switch do we have? We have Zelda and we have Mario.
You mean new IPs or new games?
No, I'm just talking about new games in general.
I think there's 3 Mario games that come out every year. You're talking
Every
about
year.
major AAA
But
because they come out with Mario Soccer, Mario Party, Mario versus Sonic.
how many of those are competing with God of War? How many of those are competing with Spider-Man?
That
That's
feels
the thing. You think they're trying to compete?
Right.
They're not.
right.
No,
That's-
that is the point that I'm making, is that PS5 has done the story mode game better than anybody over the last probably 15 years.
Okay, I think
I don't
4 of us are arguing
think
4
so.
different points.
Yeah, we probably are.
Either way,
We
let's
probably are.
get into something else. Speaking of the best console, Microsoft has finalized the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. It's done deal. Game over.
That's what I'm talking
Good.
about.
It's about time.
That's going to be used as a bargaining chip. Hey, you want to
It
keep
is.
playing this?
And this is where
Let's go with those
I'm
first
bargaining for this again. Bring WoW to Microsoft on the Xbox, baby. Oh, let's do it.
But they already did that with that, and the controller didn't compete with the.
Well, to hold on, to go back to your point just now, in using a bargaining chip, Xbox has actually already said there's going to be full transparency for the games they just acquired across all platforms.
Right. The only thing they will have access to is if they want a bundle or they want a different expansion or they want some different item, they'll have exclusivity rights.
So
like-
Microsoft actually followed up with their word. They gave their word 6 months ago, and they're following up with it, which I think is awesome.
I can get a good look at a T-bone steak if I stick my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it.
Boom. There it is.
Wouldn't be the first time a corporation.
Voice actress who played, I think, the operator in Metal Gear Solid said she only got paid $1,200 for her role in Metal Gear Solid.
And they've used her voice rights for years.
That's the game, man. That's the game. There are some companies out there that have my voice that they can use my my performances in perpetuity, whatever they want, and they paid
You
me
signed on the dotted line.
$500.
You
Good
signed
deal.
on the dotted line. That's all that. Hey,
Here's the dotted line I want to sign on. CD Projekt has spent
those guys are still
$125 million on Cyberpunk 2077 since its launch, just trying to correct the game.
I want to know what their overall budget was.
Not that.
Like with no, I'm saying their overall budget, like the DLC, the updates, the glitch issues, the original game launch. I want to know what their overall budget has been, because there's no way they've made their entire money back.
I'd say $350 million, and they haven't made that back.
No.
Oh God, I would have guessed 500 million.
Yeah, maybe.
There's still probably they're
Well, because they had Keanu. Keanu was the original face of that game.
And he's a good face to have.
what's his name, like
Yeah.
Overhands or something like that.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings is making a survival game called Return to Moria. Now, if you're not familiar with Lord of the Rings, in Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, no, it's Fellowship of the Ring. They go into the mines of Moria as opposed to taking the dangerous mountain pass, which was being watched by Sauron. They chose to go through the mines after talking to Frodo, say, hey, that one's dangerous. We can go through this one, but it's probably dangerous. What do you want to do? He goes, I'll go through there because Gimli, the dwarf, who's actually having his role reprised in this game, they went in there to find out that goblins had literally murdered everyone and made their home there with an actual devil, and the party then has to fight their way out, losing Gandalf halfway through. But they're making a survival game of the dwarves going back to that mine to try to reclaim it, and it is a survival game in which you probably go in there as a dwarf and try to survive in the mines of Moria. How does that sound?
Let's go.
Something I'm not gonna play, but I mean,
Okay,
you
so
like
just
it.
watch that scene, the mines scene in Lord of the Rings, and picture that as a video game and tell me if you want to play that. I want to play that.
I agree.
I'm just not that person.
I'm with Ryan. Personally, I wasn't that big of a Lord of the Rings fan, so like
Yeah.
I can see why people would be
Now that
all
one,
caught up in the lore and all that stuff. Like, yeah, sure, I would respect that, but I just never got into Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Still only counts.
There's a lot
as
of people
one.
who haven't. But I think that looks good, especially a survival game. Like if you have to delve down into the mines and see just how long you can live as a dwarf or whatever, and you get skill trees and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. I'd play it on Game Pass.
Facts.
Yeah.
I would actually check it out if it was on Game Pass. If I didn't have to buy it, yeah, I would check it out.
Speaking of having to buy, how's everybody enjoying Diablo?
Oh
I
my
love
it,
man. I can't tell you.
bro.
My Night Elf War,
Bro.
he's like level 79 million.
Say
And
it,
I'm
Bro.
everything.
Wait,
bro.
Ryan, say your class again for the
I
kids at
love
home.
this.
My Night Elf Warhawk. Yeah, that guy, he's dope, man.
The Night Elf Warhawk, baby. Oh, that's my next character's name.
When
Night
he-
Elf
When
Warhawk.
he started going off, I'm like, what the fuck? And then
Yeah.
I caught him like, oh, he's trolling.
Yeah. So Diablo has had some famous characters throughout their franchise, like Tyrael, obviously most recently Lilith, Diablo, all that kind of stuff. And
The Butcher.
traditionally, the Butcher for sure. Traditionally, Blizzard likes to send cosmetics to other IPs so you can kind of play in the likeness of your favorite characters. Like if there was a Tyrael skin, which there is, I'd be like, I'm all over this action. Give me that Tyrael. And
Let's do like the hood thing, right?
so it went to Overwatch, but you can only get it as a bundle for $40.
Ridiculous, dude.
it's trash, dude.
Ridiculous.
Here's my question.
Ridiculous.
Here's my question. How dead in the water is Overwatch 2, being the only Overwatch 2 player in the room?
I have not even tried to get a new skin.
Whoops.
There's a new character that came out a little bit a while ago, and I'm like, if I just earn it from Game Pass,
Wait a minute. There was a new Overwatch character that came out.
yeah. What's her name?
Never even heard about it.
The
Alari.
healer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Never even heard about it. That's how
You
bad that game is.
She's not like Ana, right? She shoots healing at other people.
You can shoot healing. She does more damage,
Yeah.
and then she has an actual her ability to heal is like a thing that you throw.
Right.
And
And
it
it's like
sticks to
it's like
something?
a stationary,
Stationary
healer.
It heals if you can hide it well. You can heal your team well. So she's actually quite usable. She's kind
Yeah,
of
when
OP,
they
honestly.
throw traditional Overwatch stats back in there, I'll be back. But
Yeah.
until then, no thanks.
Honestly, I haven't looked forward to like you have like the Halloween stuff that you used to do. No, all got to be paid for. So I'm like, this sucks. Like the whole summer games, none of that was around. I'm like, I miss mystery. I never thought I'd say this, but I miss mystery boxes and
Yep.
the loot crates so much more than this system of here. Just pay for all this trash that you could typically kind of win or at least buy.
Yeah.
Now it's just straight money, and I'm not about
We're
it.
giving Overwatch way too much time. Can we go back to Diablo 4 and how amazing
That
this new
is
season
what
is?
I wanted to do. That's how I wanted to round out this for our Diablo fans out there. So a couple shows ago, I think it was like 5 or 6 shows ago, we talked a little bit about Diablo. At the start of Diablo, we gave rave reviews. It was
Great.
awesome. Then we
Great.
updated it around the time of season 1. And I think right at the beginning of season 1, we were having fun, and then it plateaued. It was just kind of like, I don't really know what to do. It's really not. Yeah, it was boring. And it was kind of repetitive. And then like a white knight rolling in over the horizon,
Like Gandalf,
season
like
2,
Gandalf.
Gandalf going into that's in Two Towers where they
Leroy
have the
Jenkins.
Battle of Rohan,
right.
the Battle of Waterdeep,
Where he
they have
comes out white
That's
and
right.
just destroys everything in his path.
That is what season 2 has been so far for Diablo.
I don't think it'll get as repetitive because it's just like mob killing. Just go kill. And that's what you want to do in the game.
That's true. But they've also added so many activities that you can do with your character in this season. And it's whether you're with a party or not with a party, albeit is much more fun. But you can now go to these blood harvests and fight these vampires, get materials to get boss fights in there, and then you can go to the Hell Tides, fight in there, and get materials for yet another boss fight. And those 2 bosses you can target farm uniques out of now, which actually drop in the game, which is the highest tier of gear that you want. So you can actually rotate what you're doing, and last night was a perfect example of it. We started off just going through the blood harvest, which is 24/7. It rotates from zone to zone to zone to zone to zone, so there's always something to do. You can do the blood harvest, and while we did that, we're like, hey, we're gonna go do this public event. It's a Legion event where all these enemies pop out. We went to the Legion event, and as the Legion event started, a Helltide started at the Legion event, and we were like, oh shittles. It was a very exciting time in our lives, and we decided to stay there and work the Legion event, and then we did the Helltide. After the Helltide, we gained enough stuff to target farm those bosses twice, and then after that, a world boss came in. Diablo 4 has definitely, for at least the casual players, which everyone here is a casual, has definitely redeemed itself in a major way. This has been some of the most fun I've ever had in Diablo.
So,
Amen.
100%.
They
100%.
listen.
PvP?
They listen.
Huh?
You playing PvP?
I'll go to the PvP zone, but nobody
They
ever
haven't
really wants
fixed
to
that
smoke.
yet. They haven't fixed that yet.
So what you're still saying is you're soft as baby shit still, huh? No.
In the game, then Night Elf Hawk, whatever the hell.
You don't talk to Night Elf Warhawk like that.
Yeah. I'm coming
Night
for
Elf
those ears, boy.
Warhawk.
Coming for them ears.
We're gonna get. Well, here's the problem: is we're gonna get.
Hold on a second. I know you didn't get done up by the man that doesn't even want to play the game.
He's
He
Night
did.
Elf Nighthawk 78.
Night Elf
whatever,
Warhawk.
Whatever.
Night Elf Warhawk.
Let's go, baby. I don't know. That's the update. I think. For,
What class are you running?
Me, Druid, 100%.
What about you?
Necro.
Well, what did you just say to me?
There's 2 things I didn't talk about. Oh my gosh,
Where my Necros at?
where my neck grows. The Undertaker has come out of retirement just to help out at NXT, the developmental stuff, and he's doing in-ring stuff as well.
Is that why I saw him on TV? I was flipping through. I
was
saw
like,
him.
whoa, Undertaker.
Well, the cool thing was too, he showed up as the American Badass, not the actual guy from the dead. He showed up as the American Badass, rode his motorcycle out there.
I saw a comedian the other day, and he had this bit talking about, and this is what I'm going to relate to the Undertaker right now, is when you have a friend who has like a 12-year-old dog, and the dog comes walking out of a hallway, and somebody goes, hey, there he is.
There he is.
That's how I feel about Undertaker right now. Is like, okay, all right, here we go. This is to get a couple extra oohs and ahs, but nobody cares. That one is cool to see that he's still getting work. But what else is Undertaker going to do?
Nothing.
What else? He's been doing nothing.
Break his spine.
Getting his body right and going, hey, you know what? I'm going to go down to the show tonight, see if they'll let me choke slam somebody and tell them I'm the biggest dog in the yard.
Can I just say something? On this whole wrestling thing? I just listened to the Kurt Angle show on Rogan.
Yeah.
He broke his neck and still fought Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, because a kid that lived in his neighborhood wanted him to wrestle.
You do realize that he also broke his neck and still won a gold medal in
yeah, no, he
yeah.
actually went over that in the episode. He's like, they had to shoot him
Yeah.
up for every, like, those guys are G's. Like, it may be fake, but
that's one word that you could use to describe it. And in other sad news, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, my Mount Rushmore of wrestling, is retiring. and that's the
Sting.
icon Sting.
Oh,
That's good.
now is he?
Wait a minute. Ryan just pulled a jack so bad. Wow.
No, go ahead, elaborate.
No, are they like retiring? You know how they normally do, just like the face.
No, he's actually physically retiring.
Yeah,
Okay.
Wasn't he in AEW or that?
He was
He's
in-
been in everything. He's been in everything.
he was in TNA,
I just saw him.
but he went to
recently in one. He didn't look good.
WWE. He went to WWE when that was meant to be a massive thing, and he fought Seth Rollins one time, and Seth legitimately almost career-ending hurt him in that fight, and so. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to miss the icon. He was the first ever wrestler I ever saw when I was a young Jack Austin, and I would try to watch WCW on my limited cable, TV that wouldn't show anything because I didn't actually have cable. And I just remember watching it. And here we're going to go out to this. And it was him versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, Bam Bam.
And
Oh,
I
Bam Bam,
remember hearing the commentators going, Bam Bam's a murderer. He's a crazy person. And being a 13-year-old kid going, oh, well, this probably isn't really good for this other guy. And Sting was in there in the multicolored paint. And slowly but surely, Sting starts working over. They're like, oh, my God, I can't believe he's going to do it. And I was like, I can't believe it either. And I remember having finally seen it and Sting winning and the commentary doing their thing. Like, oh, my God, Sting's a legend. And I go outside, I'm like, hey, Dad, Sting is a legend. My dad's like, are you watching fucking TV? Nope. And I just turned around and ran away.
My favorite Sting memories when they had him on the wire and he drops it into the
Yep.
Clears them out.
Clears him out. That's my favorite Sting.
The only one who came with a baseball bat.
Yep.
Oh boy. Well,
I loved his whole crow angle. In WCW.
Yeah, it was good.
I loved that.
He was being sorrowful over the death of WCW to NWO. Well, that's going to do it for us at episode 159 of the Alter Ego podcast. We're going to see you guys next week with our Halloween costumes on, baby. Ready to rock and roll.
I'm cosplaying a black guy.
I am also cosplaying a black guy.
I have the perfect costume.
Please don't.
I'm the dude that's playing the dude.
I'm the dude playing the dude. Disguised as
the dude.
What
Down in San Antonio. Huh.
are you going to let him see it? Are you going to tell him what it is before next week?
Oh, are you talking about me?
Yeah.
No, it's to be determined. We'll see what happens tonight.
To be determined. Watch him.
He's going to play a Cowboys fan.
He's going to come as an Eagles fan or something.
Oh, no. But you'll see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for us. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Jack. We've got Ryan, Rhino, and Intermaniac 3 exclamation points. Or is that 4? We'll see you guys next week. Banana.